What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, and we're here to review the 4-3 game last night against Chelsea as Spurs got beat once again. Carries on another poor result, and home form is tumbling like bricks at the moment. I'm here with Sim to go through what happened last night, and you know how it goes by now. Match review, player ratings, 5 takeaways and reacts. I want to welcome everyone in the comment section that are here with us this morning. 130 people with us. And let's get straight into it, because another damaging defeat for Tottenham Hotspur, which, there was a really a bit of a buzz around the place when the lineups got announced yesterday, weren't there? Like Van de Ven in the lineup, Romero in the lineup, and we had that sneaky suspicion about Van de Ven, didn't we? Or particularly you saying, "Well, he didn't mention him in the press conference," and we did hear as well that the game was earmarked to be Van de Ven's return, and so it was. Romero back in the starting lineup as well. We more or less had, apart from Fraser Forster and Vicario, we more or less had our best team out there yesterday.
Well, from the start, it was one of our strongest teams. Yeah, you could probably say that. Obviously, we did lose Romero after 15 minutes, but it was a very strong team, and I think it was a very welcome boost before the game anyway, considering the form we had been on, the performance against Bournemouth, especially how we ended the game, and I think everyone had a bit of optimism after the lineup was read out, maybe just because it was a major shock to see them both start. Everyone was fearing the worst with Dragoshin and maybe Gray. That was probably who we think he would start at the end of Thursday. And then when you see the lineup and they're both in, you're like, okay, this is we needed this essentially going into this game. We knew what a big game it was. You know how good Chelsea are, especially in the forward areas, and we know that with those two in the team, as much as Davis and Dragoshin have done well, we know that they're better players and they're better defenders, and we're going to need them. And obviously, the way when we had the lineup and then the way we started the game was exactly what we needed at the time. Unfortunately, it didn't carry on, which we'll get into. But yeah, when that lineup was read out, I think the mood definitely changed from worried about being battered to maybe we can get something out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, I started feeling a lot more positive when I saw the lineup, but I don't know if it was because of I was having pints going down my neck. I don't know if that
I mean, it's natural. Why wouldn't you? When you're anticipating Dragoshin and Dave and Gray, and you see Romero and Van de Ven, why wouldn't you be more positive than before? You know what I mean?
Kind of. First of all, our record against Chelsea, even with our first team out, we're not great against them, and also with the form that we're on.
But that's all by the by. You're looking at a situation where even we're all taking all that into account, you're obviously going to be more positive if you've got Romero and Van de Ven than Dragoshin and David. And
more positive
Gray.
though might not think that you're going to take 3 points from the game. I
don't think anyone did think that. But everyone.
I started thinking that.
Okay, fine. Maybe that was the beer. Maybe that was the beer. But I think everyone gave us a better chance, and that makes complete sense.
Look, the reality is we started the game. I don't think anyone could have too many problems with the starting lineup. I think everyone was happy. Atmosphere was good in the stadium from the start, and we started off at a million miles an hour, didn't we? 2-0 up after the first 10 minutes. Obviously, in both goals, Cucurella slips and had to change his boots after that, and he got a lot better after that. But the goals that we did score, even though we capitalised on Cucurella errors with him slipping, I thought were of really high quality.
Yeah.
That Brennan Johnson cross for the Solanke finish, I thought that was really good. Top cross from Brennan Johnson. And the second one, that finish from Dejan Kulusevski, wow. Right into the bottom corner. Maybe the keeper could have done better, but I think it was just an unbelievable strike.
Yeah, I don't like the narrative that we were gifted 2 goals. I mean, it wasn't like it was 2 slips like Van de Ven against Newcastle where it gave the opposition a one-on-one.
Still a lot to do.
There was a lot to do in both those goals. And if it, I think lesser teams don't take advantage of those situations in terms of the quality we use to completely exploit that. And yeah, look, obviously there is an element of luck when Cucurella slips. I'm not going to say that it was completely, good quality that the goals happened, but it wasn't like they were gifted to us. Like, we had to earn those goals in terms of the quality we had on the pitch to score them. And as you say, Brennan's cross was good, but brilliant movement from Solanke. Those are the kind of goals he would used to gobble up for Bournemouth week in, week out. That's exactly the kind of goal he was brought in to score, Solanke. And unfortunately, we haven't seen that goal enough. That type of goal where he's moving across the defender, he's getting on the end of a cross, something like a low cross or pull back. And those are the kind of goals he was consistently scoring for Bournemouth, and we need to see him do that kind of thing a lot more for Spurs. And it was a good finish as well. Very difficult to get ahead of. Got ahead of Badiashile, got ahead of Sanchez. Good goal, and then the second goal as well. Yeah, Cucurella slips, but it still had so much work to do. Porro had to get into Decky. Decky then cuts inside 3 players, and as you say, arrowed a beautiful finish into the near post. I think caught the keeper out. Maybe it went through one of the players' legs and went through a bit unsighted, but. It was 2-0, and we were rampant at that point. Udogie obviously had a chance to make it 3. Some people were saying it might have been offside, so I haven't seen it back, to be honest. But maybe the reason wasn't in the highlights package, maybe it was offside, but I haven't seen it back. But that was a good chance as well. And at that point, we're flying. You're thinking, wow, what a start. You know, we couldn't have dreamed for a better start, let's be honest, in that game, being 2-0 up after 11 minutes. And no one predicted that coming into this game, that we would be 2-0 up so quickly.
You just know, though, when things are going too well for Tottenham, something's about to change. And 5 minutes.
No one felt comfortable 2-0, even though we were 2. No one thought the game was over.
Yeah, but you know, we were rampant. We were brilliant. We were playing them off the park in those first 10 minutes, right? We got the 2 goals. 4 minutes later, Romero goes down. After nothing, like it didn't look like he just did like a nice little cute backheel pass. I can't remember who it was to along the back line. And then he just goes down, and you're thinking, oh, God, what is happening here? Did we rush him back? But no, it was actually a completely different injury than what he had. So very unlucky in that situation. Dragoshin has to come on after 15 minutes, and straight away they score. Jadon Sancho was terrorising us from that moment in time. But what is Bissouma doing for the goal that we conceded? It's such a lazy movement from Bissouma. Go and close him down. He just sticks out this lazy leg. Looked like a dog pissing up a tree or something. That's literally what he looked like. And it was shocking from Bissouma. It really was. Like, I don't understand. You're supposed to be our defensive midfielder. Go and close down Sancho, who just had so much space on the edge of our box.
I mean, he did fire in from 25 yards. It wasn't like a good opportunity.
It's true, but Sancho had so much space in that area of the pitch. Even from 25 yards, you know you've got players that have the quality to fire in from that angle and that range. So we've got players just standing off him. Why are our players standing off him? There's no need for it.
I have to watch it back. I mean, I just thought it was a very good goal.
It was a very good goal, but our players could do more to stop him. And Bissouma was very lazy in that moment.
I have to watch again. I wasn't focused on Bissouma in that moment, but I have to watch it back. I have seen the highlights, but I didn't notice Bissouma specifically. Obviously, Sancho picks up on the left-hand side. He then cut inside, I think, 2 of our players, and from a good 25 yards, he's fired it in right into, it kissed off the post. I thought it was a brilliant goal from Jadon Sancho, and it's so gutting. Because as soon as Dragoshin comes in, obviously you want him to settle in the game, and we've started so well, and with that Romero-Van de Ven partnership finally back and it being broken up after 15 minutes, you wanted Dragoshin just to come on and have a bit of time to settle into the game, right? And the next 5-10 minutes, you probably didn't want him to be under so much pressure, and for us to concede straight away is a massive blow. So we had pretty much two big blows within a couple of minutes, and that very much clearly disrupted the flow for Tottenham. Chelsea at that point, 2-1, they got their tails up. They then had that chance with Palmer, which on the edge of the area, good save by Forster, and then Neto follows up, and then there's a brilliant double save by Forster. But after that moment, we then, I wouldn't say took control, but we were having chances again. Sarr hit the crossbar.
From the corner, yeah.
From the corner, Son has a chance, which he cut inside and just went over the bar with another good counter-attack. Then Son sets up another chance for Solanke inside the 6-yard box, which he has to be burying. It's a really good opportunity. Couldn't sort out his feet. So then at that point, we could have easily made it 3-1 in the first half. And we were looking like we were looking dangerous when we were going forward. And we missed those opportunities. And those were some really good opportunities which we didn't take advantage of. And then I would say for the last 10 minutes of that half, Chelsea really gained control and we were hanging on a bit, I would say. And not that we conceded too many opportunities, but just the flow of the game. You could sense it. They were on top of us. We were having to do a lot of defending. I think in terms of defensively, we probably, I mean, they had that one moment where Jackson went through and Dragic had to make a last-ditch challenge. But they didn't open us up too many times. They were having a lot of possession. They were probing us. And there were one space they were definitely taking advantage of, which I don't know if I have to say it's probably maybe down to the midfielders, is that space between the centre-back and the full-back, those under passes. They kept getting in there very consistently, and they didn't create too many chances. Obviously that's where they won the penalty, which we're getting in the second half, but that area we were struggling to contain. And I don't know if whether it's the midfielders not tracking their runs, is it the centre-backs and the full-backs not being close enough to each other, is that why they're getting in there? But that was an area definitely they sought to get in behind us. And definitely we needed half-time, I would say, because we were struggling to get into their half and they were pushing us back. It did feel like we would concede, as much as, again, as I say, in that latter part, they didn't have too many clear-cut chances, but there was just a feeling like you could see what was about to happen.
You could see what was about to happen, because I felt like in those last 10 minutes they took complete control of the game, and we needed to do something to swing the momentum back in our favour, and I don't think we were able to do that. And second half they came out on fire, really. I mean, we were penned back. We could hardly get out of half. They had complete control of the game.
And they made that sub.
Yeah, I mean, Caicedo gets moved into the midfield, and I think that was actually a pivotal moment.
Yeah, because I thought someone was getting a lot of joy in that on the foot. No one talks about it because he missed that chance, but I thought someone was having a really good game.
But Caicedo in the middle was just able to get them more presence in the middle of the park. I thought they dominated us in midfield from then on. And Caicedo should have been off the pitch. That's the reality. He should have been off the pitch, because Romero does the same, if not a little less, last season at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and gets sent off on second look to VAR. They look at that. They look at the Caicedo foul on VAR and they say no serious foul play. I mean, what is serious foul play these days if that's not serious foul play? Like, he goes in with his studs up into a player's shins.
Yeah, it's a red card. It's a red card. He should have been off. It's a terrible challenge. I think he's got extremely lucky. I don't know. Apparently VAR didn't look at it for that long even. I don't know. I mean, they did flash up the VAR thing, so maybe they did have a good look at it. But I mean, on second viewing, I've seen it a few times now. It's a horrible challenge. On a different day, it's a serious injury for Sarr, and I think Caicedo is a lucky man, and obviously he was the one who won the penalty, which makes it even more frustrating when it was 2-2, and he had a big influence on the game as well. He had, I think, a pretty good game, especially when he moved back into the middle. So they got lucky with that one, and that could have easily swung the momentum of the game.
Yeah, it could have, but still, I say the second half, we just didn't come out, and it just wasn't good enough for me, that second half. And I felt like Chelsea were building up pressure, building up momentum, building up a head of steam. And the pressure told at the end of the day. And Bissouma, man, again, Bissouma for that penalty, he's charging up the pitch. He's got options to his left and options to his right. He has more options going down in the middle of the park where there was gaps opening. And he decides to go on the outside, loses the ball. Chelsea progress the ball up the pitch and get it into our box. And Bissouma, like a headless chicken, is running back at full speed, sees that red mist, and just dives in on Caicedo. And I'm like, what are you doing? So not only did he lose the ball in the middle of the park needlessly, he runs back and gives away the most stupid penalty.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell are you doing to make it 2-2, to level up the game, to really push that momentum back into Chelsea's favour in terms of going to get a result? And
it was a head loss moment.
It really was, and he's such an idiot. He is such an idiot, man. And he gets booked as well. He's suspended for Southampton for 5 yellow cards, and now we got to go to Southampton with no Bentancur, no Bissouma, Archie Gray or Lucas Bergvall got to play in the number 6 position in that game. And so frustrating. Like, I don't know what to say about Basuma because like we've been giving him praise all season for performing at a good level, but I thought yesterday he was pretty poor, man.
I think his last few games he's been poor, to be honest. But maybe is it again? We have no Benton, of course. He's had to play every minute of every game, and is he being overplayed? I don't know, but definitely the last few games he hasn't been as good as he's been for a lot of this season, which I think has actually been at a good, pretty decent level. And yesterday was a culmination of that moment, as you say. He actually does really well to win the ball in the middle. One of the few times we were able to do that in that second half, actually pounce on a loose ball from Chelsea. And then he gets guilty of overplaying it. There's, as you say, really good options to even play the ball forward and get Tottenham starting on attack. And then from Tottenham being in a position when we can start an attack, he overplays it, gives the ball away to Neto, and all of a sudden we're defending again and we're on a transition, and it put us in a lot of trouble. And look, in a weird way, he's busting a gut to recover his mistake, which I appreciate. He's trying to recover the situation which he knows he's put the team in. So it's not like he's just given up and stopped running. Some players, when they do that's the kind of attitude I don't want to see. But in his desperation to make up for his mistake, he's made the situation even worse. And at that situation, you have to have a bit of composure, and you have to realise you've made a mistake, but just get back in position and be disciplined, and that's the best way to make up for it. And it was a head loss moment.
He's supposed to be one of the more experienced players in that team. And when you're a number 6, in this system particularly, you need to have a strong head on your shoulders. And that was just a weak moment from Bissouma. It really was.
You could see the reaction from the players.
He was gutted.
They're all no, from him, but from the other players, they're all pissed off at him.
Yeah, and they should be. And they bloody well should be.
He wasn't going to score, Caicedo. Like it was, really, like he didn't have to dive in there. There was no need for it. You could see it coming a mile away. All we had to do was stand up and just track his run. Just stand up to him, and diving in was ridiculous. And at that moment, obviously, look, Chelsea had a few chances in the first part of the second half, and they were definitely dominant. But in terms of clear-cut opportunities, they really had the Sancho one, which Forster saved, and I think Gusto had a shot from the edge of the box, which Forster saved. But apart from real clear-cut opportunities, again, people say we were in that second half like we were still going gung-ho. We weren't. We actually did drop deep, and we actually were defending a lot. But that moment came from one of the moments we actually did win the ball in the middle. So at that point, we did try and get forward, but then Bissouma loses it, and all of a sudden we have to go back again, and we were caught cold. But actually, in that first part of the second half, we were defending deeper, and we were trying to
we were forced back, really.
Yeah, we were forced back, but I'm saying we were back. We weren't. It wasn't just everyone forward. We were forced back, and we were defending a lot deeper.
We couldn't get forward. We couldn't get out.
Yeah, it was difficult. Chelsea were all over us. I think a big part of it was the midfield. I think we completely lost the midfield battle. That was a big part of yesterday.
Particularly when Caicedo went into the middle.
I thought Sarr was having a poor game, to be honest. I don't think he had a particularly good game, and we'll get to his penalty as well. Bissouma couldn't really impact the game on the ball. Decky got a good goal, but didn't see enough of him, to be honest. I think
he was good in the opening exchanges. The first 15-20 minutes.
He looked
then he kind of tired out in the second half. I thought that was the case for a lot of our players, to be honest.
Yeah.
A lot of them looked really good in the first 15-20 minutes, and then second half they were nowhere to be seen. I mean, I thought Udogie was so good in that first half. I thought he was brilliant. Controlled that left-hand side, was dominant on that left-hand side, but then second half he got eaten alive.
Yeah,
got absolutely eaten alive, and that happened in the third goal that they scored. Cole Palmer running rings around everyone in our back line.
But what was funny about the goal that we conceded is that point, because I thought at 2-2, we've been under the cosh, and that goal was probably coming, albeit it came from a really stupid moment. We were under the cosh, there's no doubt about it. We were under pressure. Chelsea had fully taken control, penned us back, and we were defending for our lives. And obviously, that the goal, it came from a brainless moment. You could say the goal was coming whether that brainless moment happens or not, but that did come from a brainless moment. And then at 2-2, I thought for about a 5-minute period, about a 5-minute period, we did have a bit of a second wind. Like Dragusin, I remember on the halfway line, he was like, for the first time in this half, someone was being bloody proactive and getting stuck into Chelsea and being aggressive. There was one ball played into Jackson, and all of a sudden, Radu just, bam, goes into him and wins the ball and gets us on the front foot. And all of a sudden, we started getting them a bit. Then Van der Ven followed suit, and then all of a sudden, for a brief period in that second half, we were getting on top of them, and I think we had a few moments, a few crosses. Obviously, the big moment comes with Sonny. Massive. I've watched it back, and it's obviously a massive confusion with the linesman and the Chelsea players, because ball gets played over the top. A doggy's running onto it. He realises he's offside, and Neto's tracking him. Was it Neto or Enzo? One of the two. They're tracking him. They're tracking his run. He then notices that doggy stopped because he's offside. So Neto, actually, you can see he puts his arm up like that, like he's offside, and then just starts running the opposite direction. And he doesn't realise that Son's running the other way because he's not offside, and Doggy is. So it was a complete brain fart, I think, I would probably say, from Neto, because if he just carries on running, he wins the ball. But because he notices Doggy's offside, he thinks the referee's about to blow the whistle. Because Son runs onto it, Doggy doesn't touch it, actually that wouldn't have been the case. So, but at that point, regardless of that miscommunication, Son's from goal. And it's in his perfect position. I've seen it back, and it's actually a poor effort. You expect like, in terms of the technique, you expect like a bit of whip on it, and as much as it fired wide, like he didn't catch it right. And the big disappointment for me is, in that situation, he didn't even have many Chelsea players near him. He had time to line up the shot. We know he has a composure in those situations, and he had Werner to his right as well if he wanted to find Werner with an open goal. And to fire it wide from that situation at 2-2, when we've just gotten a bit of impetus back in the game at that moment, would have been a big moment, I think, in the game if we would have taken it to 3-2. And it's an uncharacteristic miss from Son. And it was, look, it's unexplainable, really. How Son, if you pick one player in that position to be on the end of that, Son would be right up there. A lot of people would say you would probably want Son to be the number one in that position in the Premier League to score that goal. And he missed it. And there's not much analysis you can say. He missed a massive chance.
Yep. And when you get these moments, you need to put them in the back of the net, because like chances were a bit few and far between for us at that point. You know, Chelsea were more than on top in the second half. They definitely deserved what was coming their way. And then straight away, they go and get the third goal, pretty much straight away. And Cole Palmer was running rings around the doggy, running rings about the three other players that were around him. Gets the ball into Enzo, and Pedro Porro needs to be closing him down quicker than he did. It was a great finish by Enzo, but you could see the goal coming, in my opinion, and it's just not good enough from the players on the pitch. It really isn't. Like, you've got to be better defensively than that. Like, how are you letting one man just run rings around you?
It was a whole team move, which I thought was pretty pathetic from a lot of players. I thought the ball came, I think, to the left-hand side. Porro gets a big chunk on the ball, I think, off Cucurella, and doesn't fully get the challenge in, and it allows Cucurella to keep the ball. They then pass it inside to Caicedo, who nutmegs Decky in the middle. They then play it out wide to Palmer. Palmer has three men on him. He's got Doggy, he's got Van der Ven, and he's got I don't know who the other one was, but he's got three players on him on that side. I know, but all Palmer had to do was do a little shimmy and back inside, and all of a sudden he fooled three players. It was ridiculous how three players could allow Palmer, who, as much as what a brilliant player he is, don't get me wrong, Palmer's an exceptional footballer, but he's not the quickest, he's not the strongest. If you've got three men around him, you should be able to just stop him from getting that ball in. If there's three players there, and all three of them went with him down the line. It's like, one of you stay inside, one of you make sure he doesn't chop inside.
Schoolboy
all
stuff,
three of them.
man.
It's like,
Schoolboy
how
stuff.
can there's forget communication? Like, all three get fooled by one move from Palmer. He chops outside and goes back in. All of a sudden creates a bit of space. Now his cross was blocked. I think it was from Van der Ven, but because there was three players, actually by the end of it there was four players surrounding Palmer. We had four players literally around one player. And when his cross was deflected right into the path of Enzo, you've got Enzo and Sancho completely free on the left-hand side. Palmer, could Porro have closed him down? Probably, but he also had Sancho to deal with. There's two players there he's got to deal with the back post. If you watch it, Timo Werner's just standing in the middle, doing nothing. How can he not notice the danger? There's four men. He's not one of those four men, but there's four men surrounding Palmer. There's two men at the back post with Porro alone. And he's just standing there, not doing anything. I know he's an attacker, but you have to have some defensive awareness that there's two men free at that back post. You've got to be marking one of them, because if the ball falls there, they're going to have a free shot. So have some awareness, turn your head and realise the danger. He didn't. The ball then falls to Enzo. Don't want to overly criticise Forster. I do think Vicario saves it if he's in goal. But it's a good strike from Enzo. It's not right in the corner. It's low and hard. I do think, again, if Vicario was in goal, he probably saves that shot. But it's a consequence of Enzo having a free shot on the edge of the box on his left foot. It's a good effort because the thing's somewhat on the half volley. It's not an easy shot, don't get me wrong. But it's, again, because of what a defensive shit show that goal was. The whole team move was a shit show, and it culminated in us panicking, having three players on Palmer, their best player, no one marking the back post, no one stopping the cross, Werner ball watching, and maybe I think Forster. I think Vicario probably saves that shot, to be honest.
Yeah, but you just can't account for the defending and mistakes from individuals that you just see consistently in this game. And I felt like every goal that Chelsea scored, as much as they showed signs of quality, don't get me wrong, Sancho was brilliant for that goal, great finish by Enzo, but we need to be doing a lot better. We need to be doing a lot better.
What I would say, like, the narrative again when it's surrounding Ange, when it comes to this game, how we managed the game at 2-0, like, as if we just continued to be very, very open. Like, that goal didn't come because we were very open. We had numbers back. We had more than enough numbers back to deal with the situation. The way those numbers dealt with the situation was a massive issue. It wasn't that we didn't have numbers back and we were just completely open. Obviously, when you look at the goal, that point we were open, but that wasn't because we didn't have the numbers back in defending. It's because I don't know whether there was no communication. Was it everyone panicking, or what it was, or maybe we backed ourselves for three players to win the ball off Palmer and we didn't do it. But we were completely all over the shop in that moment. But it wasn't because everyone was caught up the pitch. Everyone was there in defensive situations, and they completely screwed it up.
Yeah, but as well, because Ange wants always everything at 1,000,000 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour, I just feel like sometimes it can send panic into the defending, and I think that's what we saw yesterday as well. Just too many players panicking, too many players standing off as well. I mean, it's like two of the opposite things, but I don't understand how they can both be creeping in. And also, the changes come with 10 minutes to go. I know Brennan goes off early in the second half because he was ill or something, whatever. But Chelsea were clearly dominating us for large parts of that second half. Like, why did he only make changes 10 minutes to go when, it was clear that we needed changes? You wait to get level, you wait to go behind, and then you make the changes. I feel like a lot of times Ange is very reactive instead of proactive in terms of making his changes.
Yeah, I mean, the changes we made, obviously Van de Ven was enforced, but the other two, Bergvall and Maddison, well, look, we were losing that midfield battle. Let's be honest, in that, especially in the second half. Also, probably bits in the first half as well. We couldn't really contain Palmer. Palmer was just picking up all sorts of spaces. We really struggled to basically pick him up. His movement is obviously brilliant. I felt like Sarr wasn't helping Basuma enough in those situations. Sarr was more interested in pressing a lot higher than filling in the spaces to help out Basuma. I don't think we were playing a double pivot in this game. Basuma seemed a bit more like a lone six than a double pivot, and he was being stretched a lot, and he wasn't helped, and Palmer was taking complete advantage of that, especially in the second half where they had a lot of control.
And I don't understand that, right? Because we were having so much joy at times when we started with that double pivot of Basuma and Sarr, and then he's reverted back in recent weeks to having just Basuma down as that single pivot.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I
don't understand why.
We and it cost us in the end, but actually as well, we created a lot of chances in that first half due to the fact that Sarr was pressing a lot higher. The amount of times he picked up that ball, which we didn't take advantage
dominated,
of.
Though we were completely dominated in the central areas. Like, don't tell me that we can't create chances if we got a double pivot in the middle. Of course we can.
No, we can.
And we can have a bit more control of the game as well.
Potentially, but I'm just saying the chances we got was also because of that setup. A few of those chances.
Yeah, but it's suicide as well.
But yeah, I mean, obviously we got completely opened up in the middle. We lost that midfield battle. There's no doubt about it. And Ange has to take responsibility for that. But he also, I'm just pointing out the devil's advocate that a lot of the chances that we did make was also because Sarr was a bit higher up, and we were able to win the ball off the pressing. And we could have maybe got another goal or two because of Sarr's position. But now you could say, well, it could have cost us a goal or two, and that's fair enough. I'm just trying to tell you the other side. It wasn't just a one-way thing. It's my point. But obviously, second half, he has to adjust it. Drassar has to drop deeper. He has to try and stem the Palmer flow, because Palmer was just picking up all sorts of positions and he was becoming so hard to track. And look, we're not the first team to struggle against Cole Palmer, but I think it was an obvious thing that Basuma was struggling to cover all that space, and we needed Sarr a lot deeper. And for some reason, he was just a bit high.
We just made it easy for him. That's the reality. Like, you got to be more aggressive up against him. You got to put your foot in. You need to be more calm and composed as well in defence, instead of all this erratic, just running around, just doing absolutely nothing. And then the fourth goal. I mean, what is Pape doing? Like, seriously. Like, he is going nowhere. Like, if he delays his tackle just a second, he's giving away a free kick instead of a penalty. Like, he is going literally.
He doesn't have to make a tackle.
Yeah, first of all, that's true. He doesn't need to make a tackle. But if he really is desperate to make that tackle, you delay it literally a second and he's outside the box and you don't give away a penalty.
Yeah, it was brainless.
It's so stupid from Pape. At that moment in the game as well, at 3-2, when, you know, there's still a slight chance that you could get back into the game and you could get that equaliser. To go 4-2 down at that point just killed everything. And mate, Pape, I just don't know what he's doing. And you know what? We've given so much praise to Pape this season, growing into the season. But I think he's been poor last few games as well.
Yeah, he has. And again, maybe he's also a one who's being a bit overplayed because he's had to play every game as well. But that was... I don't know what he was thinking. It was maybe a tired challenge, a thoughtless challenge. Palmer's going away from goal. He's actually heading to the corner flag, if anything.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to make a challenge. Again, is he desperate just to win the ball back to get Tottenham back on the front foot? Is that why he's lunging in? But there's no real reason to make that challenge, especially in the penalty box. It's ridiculous. There's no justification for it, really. And it costs us another goal out of nothing, where, you know, we probably had control of that situation. We had the numbers back. There was no need for him to dive in there. There was no need to panic, apart from the fact that obviously it's 10 minutes to go and we're a goal down and we need to get the ball back. But there was no need to make that challenge, and he'd done well to track him back, and there was no need to do that. It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. It was brainless, and it cost us another goal. And you'll be probably as dumbfounded as anyone why Pape decided to do that. It was probably worse than Basuma's in a way, just because at least there was a bit of danger with Caicedo getting in behind there. There was literally no danger with Palmer going the way he was going, and it was nonsense from Sarr.
It really was. Nonsense. Like, if someone does that on a Sunday league pitch and gives away a penalty in that area like that, when the player's going absolutely nowhere, he is getting absolutely criticised and lambasted by his teammates and the manager. And this is on a professional scale in a big London derby against Tottenham against Chelsea. It's just unbelievable how someone can do that. It really is. And every time I see it, it gets worse and worse.
Yeah, it's just really inexcusable,
terrible, man.
It's all the analysis you can do. There's no analysis to say about it. It's just stupid.
It really was
dumb what he did.
It really was. And look, we got back to 4-3 in the last few minutes of stoppage time. 7 minutes were added on, and he scored.
To be fair, even before
4-3,
before 4-3, we had a couple of chances, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a couple, but it was a little too late by then.
Son had a one-on-one, which Sanchez saved. Madison obviously came on, and Bergvall as well. And I thought Bergvall had a really nice cameo. I thought he did really well, which is fair play to him, because, you know, difficult situation, and he's still, you know, 18-year-old kid, hasn't played too much in the Premier League. He's come on and done well.
Look, Bergvall did well. He was spraying the ball about really well and nicely, and he looked really tidy on the ball. But I just find it so hard to take the positives out of anything from that game when you just throw away the game like we did. Like, the individual errors that cost us in every single one of those goals, it's just ridiculous. And I felt the game management from Ange as well was ridiculous as well. As much as we had our chances, and, you know, on the transition we looked good at times, and the first 20 minutes we were brilliant, it's just no way to play a football match with the individual errors that were shown, and the game management from Ange. It was all just ridiculous, man.
To be fair to Ange, again, it's hard for him at the moment in terms of how, when you're under the cosh like that, you know, in terms of who could he, I guess the only one you could think, maybe do you bring on Gray and replace Basuma in that situation, but does that guarantee that, you know, we stem the tide any better? You know, Basuma's the more experienced player in that situation, even though he wasn't having the best game. Is Maddison the player you want to bring on in that situation when we're, you know, trying to hold off Chelsea? Is he the one you turn to? If we had Bentancur, I'm sure he would have come on. but he obviously wasn't available. We don't have in terms of squad management, in terms of the subs he could have made. Obviously, we brought on Bergvall and Maddison, but that was at 3-2, wasn't it? And that's when we're chasing the game. Those are obviously the kind of players you want when we want trying to get back into it. But at 2-2, I mean, I don't know what changes I massively criticise him for not making. Maybe not bringing on Gray, but again,
I would have brought on Maddison as well at 2-2. We're giving up a 2-0 lead. You need to, stem the tide back in our favour. And Kulusevski was doing nothing at that point. In the second half, I don't remember anything Kulusevski really did. So he should have come off earlier, in my opinion. Bissouma should have come off because he was a ticking time bomb in the second half. So, I mean, changes definitely could have been made quicker. 100%. Who else did we have on our bench yesterday? So Timo came on after 15 minutes.
I think that was probably a mistake. He should have. I think he should have kept Timo off and just put Decky there and just put Bronwyn Maddison.
Yeah, potentially.
That's probably what I would have done.
You have Jed Spence
Werner
there.
was rubbish.
Yeah, Dragoshin was all right when he came on at times. But yeah, look, the squad is thin at the moment and we are struggling with the injuries, but I don't understand why you make changes with 10 minutes to go when you see the way the game's going. And everyone in that stadium could see the way the game was going. They could. So why couldn't Ange, and why doesn't Ange change things to make it from a tactical perspective and from a personnel perspective? It makes no sense. Like, we could have easily dropped two men into the midfield with Sarr and Bissouma alongside each other, and we could have made changes a lot earlier, and we haven't done. And that's culminated in a terrible run of form that we're on now. Terrible. One win in the last 7 games or something stupid like that. Crystal Palace have lost less games than us this season. I mean, I was looking at the league table, right? We've lost 7 games this season. 7. We lost 12, I think, the whole of last season. Was it 12?
Nah, is that right? I think we lost more than that.
Maybe
I'm
the whole
wrong.
of last season. 2025. We lost 12 games the whole of last season.
So on track to lose more.
We're on track to lose a lot more than 12. And he's been given, apparently, if you believe the press, Dan KP, I think it was, that said
Matt
that
Law.
Matt Law says that the board is still sticking by him, and it is kind of a vote of confidence in a way, whatever way you want to spin
Sammy
it.
Mockbell has just tweeted saying Daniel Levy is prepared to give Ange every opportunity to turn Tottenham's fortunes around.
So I mean, but it just doesn't. It doesn't look good for Ange because a lot of managers have been sacked for a lot less. 1 win in our last 7, 4 away wins in the last 12 months, 9 home defeats in 12 months, 41% win ratio since Chelsea last November, which is 45 league games, 7 defeats in 15 league games, only the bottom 3 have more, 19 defeats in 12 months, 1 point from 9 in December, worse win percentage than Nuno, AVB and Sherwood, 12 defeats in the last 22 games, more defeats than Palace. West Ham, if they win tonight, they're only 2 points off us, and West Ham have been absolutely shocking this season, and their manager's been on the brink of sack pretty much ever since he's joined the club. So, I mean, what are we doing here, people?
So do you want him sacked?
I mean, first of all, I don't think he's the biggest problem at this club. I've said it a number of times that I don't know what changes under a new manager because I feel like the ownership is always going to be culpable. But I don't see a way that Ange can turn this around. I don't see a way that Ange is going to turn this around. So, but also on the flip side of that, if we do sack him, I don't know how we turn this around with any manager. So I think we're caught between a rock and a hard place.
So I might as well stick with him.
And then, yeah, we might. Either way, it's not good. If we stick with him, it's not great.
No, so let's just stop watching Spurs then.
We may as well, because if we stick with him, it's not great. Like those stats that I've just read out, like no man. If it was another club and we're looking at it from an outside in, we're laughing at that club. We're laughing at them, saying how are they sticking with that manager?
Yeah, and we were laughing at Arsenal when they stuck with Arteta.
Yeah, but that's one case that you can bring.
All right, but I'm not saying Ange is going to be the one to bring success back to this club, or Ange is the one, or I'm not saying I even believe Ange is the one to bring success back to Spurs. I don't know that at this point in time. We're currently 11th. Obviously, everything you read there, that's absolutely, there's no arguing with that. Those are the facts. And if you told me before Ange was taking over that would be the case, I'd say I'll be very surprised if he's still in the job. And 100%, that is the case. But
the only teams that have lost more than us in the Premier League this season are the three teams in the relegation
and
spot.
that's not good enough.
It's nowhere near good enough.
That's not good
nowhere
enough.
near good enough.
I understand that. But I think we're better off sticking with him, and we're better off backing him to turn it around, and we're better off allowing him the opportunity to get things right rather than just throwing it all away. That's just my opinion.
But what are we throwing away? Like, the form since the first 10 games of last season has been shocking.
Yeah.
Ever since the first 10 games. It's like we're still living off these first 10 games of last season.
He still retains the backing of the players, it seems. I think, again, when we've played very well, you've seen what we're capable of. At the moment, you know, the way things are going at the moment, clearly everyone is, you know, running on empty, or we're not getting things right at the moment, and we're going through a lot of problems. They've got, clearly, with the run of form we're on, big issues. Well, look, we're 11th in the table. We should never be 11th in the table at any point in the season, let alone 15 games in. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about that. But the context to that is all the, you know, everything that's had to happen when Ange took over. You know, completely rebuilding a lot of stuff. He's had a lot of money, don't get me wrong. I think he should be doing a lot better with the squad that we do have. And I think we should be a lot higher up on the table. But, you know, things can change very quickly. As much as things have changed very quickly from us being, you know, in European places to now bottom half, things can change quickly again with a couple of wins. We're still in all the cups. And I don't see changing a manager right now when, if the players are still on board with him. As I said before the Chelsea game, I think there's going to be a bit of pain from now till January. And I think we're just going to have to, we either cop it and just hope we can go through it and come out the other side, and hope he can then start to improve things once we get players back, and maybe a couple signings in January, 1 or 2 signings in January, and start getting our form back. Or do we just bin it all and say, this isn't good enough, and we need to go in a completely different direction, or just a different direction? And I think we should probably just ride through this pain, because usually what we do is sack the manager, and usually a lot of the times things get worse. Obviously, we signed Conte, and he got us a miracle and got us top 4, but unless we're going to go in that direction, which I don't think we will, I don't see that happening in this situation. So I only see sacking Ange getting worse, to be honest. Because either we go interim, and I don't think that's a good situation, or, I mean, I don't know who we're going to get permanently mid-season to save the situation, who we believe is going to be a long-term option for Tottenham. So are we better off hoping Ange can save the situation and try and let him turn it around, and, you know, give him, as we know, we're very good on our day, and that's quite good for a cup team, so give him an opportunity in the cups? Or do we just bin it off, say, look, since you've come to the club, the results haven't been good enough, it's been 15 months or whatever it's been, and
it seems to be getting worse,
and, you know, we don't believe that you can turn it around, and you're gone now. I think we're better off just giving him the opportunity to turn it around. I think that's the better pathway I would go. But
the only problem is, you're looking at the league table right now, and as each week goes by, we're falling further and further behind. We really are. And we're talking about this hard run that we've got in December. We've got an even harder run coming in January, with Arsenal away and Man City at home coming. We've got Liverpool to come still at the back end of this month. I mean, by the time mid-January comes, or by the end of January comes, we could be well out of sight of everything in terms of a league table. We really could be. And yeah, that could also be the case if we get a new manager in, or an interim manager, and it's probably likely to be the case. So what are we saying? Like, the league is done already? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, we're only 3 points off 5th, so the league's not done, but...
We're 5 points off
5 points off 5th, so the league's not done. But, yeah, with each loss, we're falling further behind, 100%.
Like, a few weeks ago, we were only 3 points off 3rd.
Yeah.
And now we're what? Well, how many off 3rd we are? We're 9 points. 9 points off Arsenal in 3rd. I mean, we are just we're falling so quick at the moment, and this is what I said to you a few weeks ago. Like, it very quick that we're going to fall behind with the way we're playing at the moment, and this has come to pass. I said to you when we did that prediction video, I can't see us getting more than 7 points, and I don't even know we're going to get to 7 points. We've got Southampton. If we beat Southampton, then that will be our 7 points. But we got to go to Southampton without any recognised defensive midfielder. I mean, it's not looking good. It's really not looking good, and it's not looking good on everyone, and everyone's got a part to play in this, whether it be Ange, whether it be the players, and most importantly, the board. So, yeah, I'm just not very positive about Spurs at the moment, and I can't see a way out of this.
I think we should stick with Ange.
But can you see a way out of it?
Yeah, I can.
What does a way out of it look like?
Getting back to competing for the European places, and I think there's no reason still why we can't do something in one of the cups. I don't see why not.
I mean, I can't see us beating Man United. I know Man United haven't had a great start under Amorim, but I mean, the way they play with their wing-back system, they'll just destroy us down both sides of the pitch.
Maybe we'll create enough chances to win. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is going to be when we play them, but I think there's no reason why we can't beat them, especially at our ground. Even if we play like we did yesterday, we can probably beat them, to be honest.
Our ground, we can't buy a win for toffee at the moment. I know we beat Man City not long ago, but our last few home games, we've got conceded 4 goals to Chelsea, lost the game. We've drew with Roma, and we've lost to Ipswich. So, I mean,
I think we can still beat them.
And we drew to Fulham as well, where we should have lost the game. I mean, we can't beat anyone at the moment.
Yeah, but that's not going to continue forever. I don't think. My personal opinion. I think he will be able to turn it around. As I say, I said this before the Chelsea game, and I stand by it. It's going to be a bit of pain from now for the next few weeks, I think, and it's not going to be easy, and we're going to have to stick by it. But do I see enough in this team for me to suggest we can turn it around and to suggest we can start hitting good form? I see enough to suggest we can.
What are you seeing, though? I don't understand what you're seeing.
I see that we can score goals. I see that we can play good football. And we're struggling at the moment to keep up that intensity. But if we can get a squad back together, then we can do it, I think, in my opinion. That's what I'm seeing. I'm obviously we're in very bad form, don't get me wrong. And there's wild inconsistency and we're losing way too many games. But for me, I think the good is worth sticking by rather than just giving into the bad, in my opinion. And as I say, if he still
the bad is too much. If he
retains the support of the players, then there's got to be a reason for that.
Isn't that even worse? Like, he's got the support of the players and we're still getting beat like this week in, week out.
Because we're running on empty. It's difficult at the moment. Everyone's
but even
playing
before
every
we
game.
were running on empty, we were losing at home to Ipswich and away to Crystal Palace, who hadn't won all season. Like, the red flags and the alarm bells were already there. The back end of last season, we had a fully fit squad and we couldn't buy a win at the back end of last season either. So, I mean, the red flags were clearly there at the back end of last season. After the first 10 games, we had that injury crisis. We play some pretty football at times. I'm not denying it. It looks good. Probably the best kind of attacking football that we've seen since Pochettino. But we're way too open at the back, and it's way too easy for teams to score against us. Too many individual errors creeping in as well because of the frantic nature of our play. Like, it's just... Everyone wanted to see attacking football when Conte left this football club. And we brought in probably the most attacking manager that we could find or bring in. Why does it have to be one way or another? Why couldn't we find someone who values a defensive structure as well as valuing an attacking a team as well?
Okay, and he might not be the right guy. I'm just saying for now, for this season, if we're going to make anything of it, if we're going to say win a cup or something, I think our best bet is to stick with Ange for this season. Maybe it means we part ways at the end of the season and we go in a different direction. I'm saying right now, there's no point sacking him. I think we ride through it. We hope he turns it around because that's the best course of action. I don't think sacking him, bringing someone new and hoping it all changes for the better is the best way to go forward. I think we just stick with him. We ride through this pain and we hope he can turn it around. And I think it still gives us a good opportunity, but I would say a opportunity to do something in the cups. Obviously, Champions League football via the league is not going to be is going to be very, very difficult unless we can get into that 5th place. But I just personally believe that's the best course of action, as long as he still retains the support of the players, which he still seems to do. I think the players are giving everything. It's a difficult period. We're in bad form, and the results for the last year are not good enough for where this club ultimately wants to be. But I just personally feel like that's the best course of action for now. I don't think sacking him is going to change it. Like, I don't think bringing in Iraola, who's also got a very intense way of playing and high pressing with all these injuries, is going to. I don't think the players are going to look any less tired or anything like that with him in charge right now. I think, for me, I think we have to just stick with him. I think we have to, the ceiling we've got when we play under Ange, ultimately we haven't got there enough times, but you can see how good we can be when we're at that top. Now, getting to that level when we're very, very good is not easy to reach. It doesn't happen overnight. And we're capable of that level of performance, which is very good. And you need to remember that. And as much as we also are capable of, Ipswich and Palace, we have to just... Right now, our best course of action is hoping we can turn those results around and still hit those heights that we know we can hit, rather than just binning it all. That's just my opinion. I don't think chucking this whole project away after 15 months because we're 11th in the table after 15 games is the right course of action. I think results-wise, it's not good enough. Don't get me wrong, but
nowhere near good enough.
It's not good enough. I've admitted that. Okay, we know it's not. We know it's not good enough. We know we shouldn't be in 11th place after 15 games. I think we all know that. Right? I think Ange knows that. I think the players know that. But I don't think right now, if you've committed to this project, you might as well give it the season. I don't see the point in just binning it off now.
We say binning it off and chucking things away. I just don't know what we're chucking away, because things are just not going well, and they haven't been going well for a long time, for a while now. We can pull out performances here and there, yeah, fine. But you talk about the ceiling being really high. Well, the floor is really low, and we can't keep going through these performances, and we can't keep going through these results without making a substantial change. And I don't know what a change looks like. I don't know who can come in. Is it going to be Mason? Is it going to be someone else? Are they sounding out managers right now? Do I have faith that the board can even get the next change right? No, I don't.
That's why I'll keep with him.
But I don't have faith that working in this current manner is going to turn it around either. So, I don't have faith either way. So I don't even know what the answer is.
All right, well, I've got a sense of direction. Let's keep Ange. You're saying you don't know what to do. I'm just saying, let's just keep with him then.
But for what?
To hope he can turn it around.
But I hope. What are you basing that on, though? Like, there's no... Where is your hope coming from?
Just I know the football we're capable of.
What, losing to Ipswich and Crystal Palace and conceding 4 to Chelsea
and winning big games as well.
All the stats that I've just read out to you, it's worse than any manager that we've had here.
And it's more competitive than it's ever been, this Premier League. It's very, very difficult. I get that, but I think the best. Okay, but you're not saying You're not saying sacking him is a good option either. So I'm saying if that's not a good option, so let's stick with him and hope he can turn it around. For now, that's our best course of action. I don't think sacking him right now is worthwhile. The reality
is whatever we say about Ange in, Ange out, this, that, I think the attentions need to be put to the board. As people are saying in the comments right now, it's completely right, completely spot on. You can't take a club forward, filling the squad with 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds and expect to get better the next season. That's the reality. Dom Solanke has been a welcome change up top. Not going to lie. But if you want to be competing with the best, you need to be bringing in better talent. And we didn't do enough and give Ange enough to really go and massively improve on last season. That's also the reality. And that's always going to keep happening under this ownership. I don't think they got the tools or the bottle to really take us on to the next level anyway. So, again, we're just stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I think the fans need to make their voices heard.
So, are you starting a protest?
We're going to start one. Protest tomorrow outside the training ground. But look, it's just not a great time to be a Spurs fan right now. As much as we had all that hope when Ange first came in and it looked good, it's just been absolutely shocking ever since those first 10 games. It really has. So I've got no hope and no faith that we can go and win a trophy and finish in the top 4 or 5 this season.
Inconsistent teams have won trophies before.
Yeah, it's true. But Tottenham haven't won a trophy since 2008.
No, but maybe this could be different. I still think there's a possibility we can. I don't look. All you have to be good. It was called. You have to be good in a series of one-off games, and that's what we're good at. So, I think there's no reason why we can't up our game in these specific games and go on a run. Like, we're still probably going to qualify Europa League for then, whether it be top 8 or not. We'll have to wait and see what happens on Thursday. But we're going to go through to the next round of Europa League. We've got a big game against Man United coming up to get placed in the semi-final of the Carabao. So on that sense, it's all to play for. We've fallen well behind in the league. There's no doubt about it. But for me, I just think if the only possible way we can turn this season around is if we allow Ange time. I don't think changing it's going to turn it around.
But is there a breaking point at some point? Like, if we keep going on these bad results, if we go and lose to Southampton, if we go and lose to Man United in a couple of weeks' time, like, will your opinions change?
If we're out of all the cups...
Not all the cups, just let's say we lose to Man United and we lose to Southampton.
If we lose to Man United and we lose to Southampton, two losses...
Does that change your opinion at all? Or even a draw against Southampton? Whatever, I'll give you the point.
If we draw to Southampton and we lose to Man United, will my opinion change? Maybe. If we're out of the Carabao Cup and we don't finish in that top 8 in the Europa League, and we're more than and we're very far off it in terms of getting any potential of getting that top 5, then obviously I'm going to lose even more faith than I have now. That's for sure. Would it say I want him gone? I don't know. If there's no hope of winning anything, then probably, yeah, I would want him gone. But right now, I still retain that hope.
Yeah, but you're still saying Europa League will still be there. FA Cup will be starting in January. So I mean, we'll still be in 2 competitions if we do drop points in those 2 games. We do drop those 2 games.
Yeah, but if it doesn't, like at the moment, I still see enough that I think we can turn up in one-off games. If that goes, then obviously my opinion will have to change. At the moment, I still think we can up our game. I still think we've got another level of performance in us.
So basically you're giving it 3 more games, and if the results don't change in those 3 games, then you'll be feeling a similar way to me.
But what do you feel? Do you want him gone or not?
I mean,
this is the whole conversation.
It depends what we can bring in. I mean, if we can bring in someone that is better than him. I think that a lot of managers are better than him. If we can bring in someone that can stem the tide and to take us, make us a bit more solid, as well as retaining our attacking threat, then I would make the change right now. I probably would. But like I keep saying, I don't think anything changes under this ownership. So that's why I'm finding it really hard to make an actual decision whether it is the best course of action to keep him or to get rid of him. When I'm looking at this squad and I'm looking at the results that we're getting against the teams that we're getting them against, do I think another manager can come in and get better results against these kind of teams? Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. So maybe to get short-term results, we do need to change a manager. But in terms of long-term, going to win stuff and actually be successful like we want to be, that's where I don't think it can change under the ownership. But in terms of getting results here and now against like the Ipswiches and the Palaces and Fulham's at home and people and teams like that, maybe a manager change can help us in more the short term.
Yeah, but I'm not bothered about short term. That I'm saying this whole season in terms of this project, there was never going to be a short term thing. As much as Ange just talked a good game. And he's always very ambitious and he always wants to accelerate the projects and whatever. It was never going to, I never expected a, big thing. As much as we can win it, hopefully we can win something this season. Obviously, every season we hope for that.
You did expect, though, because we all expected at the beginning of this season. We both predicted Spurs to finish 3rd in the league table this year. Well, 3rd or 4th, whatever. Both of them are gone.
Yeah. And so we've fallen way off it, yeah, for sure.
So there was expectation at the beginning of the season.
No, not for like a title challenge or anything.
No, definitely not. But the expectation was to progress from last season.
Yeah.
And it's fallen way short of that so far.
But we might as well give it till the end of the season. You know what I mean?
But even if we right now, we can't, in terms of a league table finish, we can't get better than we got last season.
No,
it's pretty much factual.
But if we can do that and do something in the cup, that would show progress.
Look, I guess we'll just kind of have to wait and see. He has been given the vote of confidence, so I don't think he's going anywhere.
I just think that's the right decision for now.
Over the next few games, but it's just interesting because, you are backing Ange at the moment, and I'd love to back Ange because I actually like Ange. I like his demeanour, and I even said to you before the Chelsea game, whatever I said about him last week, I watched the press conference, I watched the embargoed press conference, and it made me, have a little bit of faith with the football club. But then you see what happens on the pitch, and just slaps you right back in the face and brings you back to reality because he's a good speaker. And he seems like a really lovable guy, but I just feel like the tactics just are not suited. Are not suited maybe to this league, or are not suited to the players. I don't know what it is, but we're just way too open. We can play nice football at times, and it's just not great. And it's a results-driven business, isn't it?
Yeah, it is at the end of the day, but I think he can turn around these results. I'm not saying we're going to, Yeah,
you say you think he can turn it around, but then again, you're saying that if he loses Southampton and Man United, then you want him gone.
It depends on the context of the games, but I never said I want him gone. I said I'll lose more faith than I have now. That's what I said. I don't know if I want him gone. I have to see how I feel at the time. But obviously, if we lose heavily, or we're complete rubbish in both those games, and I don't see anything, then maybe I would. I don't know. Depends. It depends on the context. Right now, I don't want to see him sacked. That's all I'm saying. I don't see the point in sacking him.
All right.